neighbors. There are not many neighbors at all, and the home is surrounded by very dense woods.
Now, for people who have not been following this closely, can you remind us how this all started? It was on May 2nd, right?
That's right. It's the morning of Friday, May 2nd, so exactly 11 weeks ago today. And most of the information that we have about those first hours comes from the children's stepfather, Daniel Martel. I spoke with him in a recorded interview for nearly an hour, and he says he and the children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, were in bed with their other child, a baby, and they were sort of dozing in and out of sleep. And Lilly and Jack were playing in the kitchen, but Lilly came into the bedroom multiple times and woke him up. And here's what he says happened next.
And then about 20 minutes passed, and then when I woke up, Malaya was right beside me. She was still asleep. And I said, I don't hear Lilly and Jack. So I jumped straight up out of bed. Silence is never a good thing when you have kids, because you know they're getting into something. And then we noticed the boots were gone. We went outside, made our way into the backyard. We didn't see them anywhere. And Malaya said, should I call 911? And I said, well, just wait 1 second. I ran up in the woods to the kids. They have cabins up in the woods. It's about, I don't know, 100 feet up in the woods. Ran up there, ran right back down, which only took me like 30 seconds. And I was screaming for Lilly and Jack, you know, all the way out when I was running up to the cabins. And my mother heard me, so she came out and said, you know, what's going on? And I said, you know, Lilly and Jack are missing.
And so the RCMP says it was around 10 a.m. when they received the 911 call. They won't say exactly what time.
Now, we just heard Martel mentioning his mother. What have we learned from her?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, she was there the day Lilly and Jack went missing. She's never spoken publicly until this interview with my colleague. Her name is Janie McKenzie, and she had basically given Martel and his young family the mobile home and was living in the RV parked next to the house. She says she very much thought of Lilly and Jack as her grandchildren, says they called her Granny, and have been part of her family for 2 years. She describes them as two very different children.
Jack's the one that if he didn't want to do something, he didn't do it. And he was a curious boy. He stayed out here, and that's all he did was look for bugs and worms. And Lilly, she was always running around, screaming and hollering. And I observed those kids for 2 years. They were part of my life for 2 years.
What does Janie say about what happened that day?
Well, she says that morning her brother called her at 8:48 local time. She has the timestamp on her phone. She says she spoke with him and then went back to bed. But then she heard her dog barking and she heard Lilly and Jack. She didn't see them, but says she heard them. And she says it was around 10 minutes after that call with her brother, so around 9 a.m. now, that she heard her son yelling for Lilly and Jack. Now, she didn't go outside immediately, but when she did a short time later, she saw Malaya, the children's mother, standing there with the baby, and it was her who told Janie that Lilly and Jack were missing and had been for about 20 minutes. And she says, ever since then, baseless stories have been swirling about her family.
All the rumors and accusations. But that morning, my dog was sleeping with me in bed. When he heard the kids yelling, or kids talking, I should say, sorry, talking, my dog was in bed with me, and I told him, it's the kids outside playing. He shut right up. Then he barked again when Daniel was yelling out the back door for the kids. I didn't pay any attention to him because I thought he was telling the kids to get into the house. And besides, Jack lets my chickens out. And I let my chickens out at 7 o'clock that morning. So Jack has a habit of going around, moving stuff, and the chickens get out underneath the pen. So I thought he was yelling at him about the chickens. And Friday morning, I get up at 6 o'clock. I sat here and played on Facebook. I sent a thing to my brother at 6:24. And at 7 o'clock, I went out and I did up the chickens. And I came back in, I sat here, I played on Team U, which is the worst thing you can get addicted to. And then my brother called me at 8:48, talked for 2 minutes and 59 seconds. He asked me if I was going to town. I said, no. I said, I'm staying home. I'm going back to bed to have a sleep. I went back to bed. It wasn't long after that. I can't tell you how long. I laid there for a little while playing on Facebook. I dozed off. I heard the dog bark. The kids were outside. I heard the kids. And then after that, I didn't hear nothing. Everything just went completely silent. And I don't know how long after that, I heard Daniel yelling for the kids. I figured he was yelling at the kids to get inside, or Jack was letting my chickens out, which he usually does. He let them out a few times. So I figured Daniel was getting mad at him for that. The next thing you know, I dozed off again, or I get up about 5 or 10 minutes after that, and I found Malaya outside, standing there holding Meadow on her hip, and she was holding her on her right side of her hip. Now, I don't recall if she had her phone or not. That wasn't important to me. The only thing is what I was looking at is her standing there, and I asked her what's up, and that's when she told me the kids were missing for 20 minutes.